Hey, good morning, traders. TG Watkins here. It is August 24th, Wednesday, when I'm recording this. I'm going to be away from my desk this morning when I usually have my live session, so decided to pre-record this for you. Anyway, if any of you are new to me and have any questions and want to find out more, you come over to profitpilot.com. And yeah, one of the things that I've been talking about recently, I think eyes on UVXY, that one was July 21st. And the reason I brought that back is because, well, we're talking about the UVXY again. You can see here I have another video newsletter I'd like to show you guys about the UVXY. So do take a look a little bit closer on that. And then what I can show you in through here is we got that UVXY move primarily because I could see that the S&P was going to pull back from running into its daily 200, its weekly 50, its monthly 10. Those were all three moving averages were all in the same place, acting as resistance pretty clearly right in through there. So as I expected, I think that there's going to be a basically like a double top situation, a topping pattern up here in the daily chart. So maybe down, up, and then down. I do think that price is going to go to the daily 50. It could go below it, certainly. And we're going to have to see if there's kind of this trend line. And I'd be wondering if after this bounce, maybe price comes down to here, where that trend line is. Because I do think it's going to go below the daily 50. I don't think it's just going to land right on it. And then really the question after that is, can price hold at the daily 50? Like, is the daily 50 going to end up being support, or is it going to just end up being temporary support? So temporary support would be like this. You can see that price got to it, kind of bumped around a little bit, and then continued to fail. And so yeah, we're going to have to see if whenever price gets to the 50, if it's going to be bullish, then it would hold. If it's going to be bearish, then it will eventually fall and fail through it. Another thing that I was looking at today is, I do think that this is, I think, right about here, basically around the 21 EMA is where I typically see price bounce from a pullback. It's taken a couple days for it to hammer out a bottom in through here, but there's also a bit of a gap right there. You can see that there's a gap between price and the 8 EMA, and oftentimes they say off the 8, back to the 8. You can see like this, off the 8, back to the 8, a little bit like that. And so I just look at that and say, it can work to the upside and it can work to the downside. And right now you can see that there's a bit of a gap. So I'm kind of looking for that bounce back up there. Not to mention that there is a lot of, price congestion right here, and we're right in the thick of it. So yeah, I do think that it should run into some support, and we should see a little bit of a bounce. I don't know how energetic it's going to be. I don't know how far it's going to be, but that is generally what I'm going to be looking for to see if there's going to be a bounce. The internals are, they took a little bit of time to warm up. That's why I wanted to wait just a few minutes after the market, but they are mildly bullish, a little bit coming in here, ticks are up, everything's a little bit bullish. So it will be interesting to see. I would like to think that the market's going to kind of start moving up a little bit. Again, I don't know how big of a bounce it's going to be, but I'm generally expecting price to come back up, either to the hourly 50 or maybe just beyond the hourly 50 to the upside. If we look at Tesla, a bit of an example for that. Let me kind of clean this up here. Let's see. Yeah, if we do that, let me get rid of this thing. And what I'm seeing with the market is kind of the same deal here. You can see how price generally bounced off of the daily 21. And you can see that it did get a little bit of a move, but like I was saying with the S&P, I'm watching out very closely for a double top situation like that. And you can see price move down. Ultimately, Tesla is just not going anywhere. It does have a 3-to-1 stock split coming up, I think tomorrow or something, really close. But ultimately, I think that the gap between price and the daily 50 is going to be filled, and primarily because price is running into the underside of the daily 200. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that thing actually move down. Typically going into a stock split, it's bullish, and then once the stock split hits, then it kind of goes down, as the inside traders, people like us who know these things, would then tend to sell into the new population of traders who are going to come lured in because it's going to be now $300 instead of $900, and they are attracted to that. All right, some other news. Peloton getting a bounce. They've worked out some sort of deal with Amazon, so good for them. Right ahead of earnings, so we'll see how that has to do. But it did actually bounce off of the daily 50, and it bounced off of the hourly 200. So there you go. A couple moving average taps, and then also news. And then SoFi, other news as well, there was the student loan forgiveness talk is starting to really heat up in through here. About $10,000 is what they're talking about. Say what you will, that's going to be another point for another conversation, but apparently SoFi is kind of benefiting from that, and so they had a bit of a pop in through here. Not sure how long this is going to last, mostly because we kind of have some conflicting angles. Yes, I do think that the market is going to trend upward for a little bit, which could help SoFi, but SoFi could also just kind of chop around in through here. So my concern is that right now price is trying to go up across a downtrending moving average with the Moxie indicator below zero. And even if it were to go up, if we look here on the 15-minute time frame, you can see what it has to do. So if price were in a downtrend like this, it's kind of do some turning around in order to get price to go up. And so if we look where we are now, yes, we are over the 15-minute 50, but now we need to engage with the 15-minute 50. And I think that would take some time to work out and do. And so, if you're interested, you can always catch this on a pullback. I think that there would be a near-term pullback on the 15-minute time frame in order to catch something like that. Perhaps, interestingly, now that I think about it, maybe some people knew some things, and maybe that's why that volume is all there. So maybe that there's been a lot of buy-in in this as that student loan forgiveness conversation has come up. All right, so we got some of that. Let's look at some of the bigger stocks. Amazon, very, very similar to what the market is doing. It ran right into the underside of that daily 200, likely to pull back. And you can see here price kept going higher, but notice the Moxie indicator kept going down. This is key stuff. This is how and why the Moxie indicator works so well, how I'm able to teach it, and how you guys are able to use it and benefit from it. That was a major negative divergence, and it should be speaking to you, telling you like, hey, why is price going up but the Moxie indicator is literally going down every single day? Like, that's a big deal. Like, why is it going down every single day? And if you think this thing's going to keep going up, then there's something going on with this. Okay, it's trying to communicate to you. It has been down every single day since it exactly hit the daily 200. Pay attention to something like that. So price finally broke. Now I think that's the first move. I think that there's generally going to be some sort of bounce. It doesn't have to be much, but I do think that there's going to be a little bit of bounce, and then you know what? You can short it again on its way back down to the daily 50. So we've got some savvy traders in the Moxie room, and I know a couple of them in particular shorted this. I assume that they got out here since they are pretty savvy and they understand the ways of the Moxie rules and all that. So move down like that, take off your puts or whatever down short play that you took, wait for a little bit of a bounce, and then we can short it again. And I think that's what's going to be happening in through here. So we got that. And then I want to show you, HLF. I want to show you that same concept about the Moxie indicator moving up, moving down, even though price was moving up. Doesn't this hourly chart looks exactly like Amazon? Are you guys noticing that price kept going higher and higher and higher and higher? But look at the Moxie indicator, down, 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 down every single day. The Moxie indicator is your friend. It is trying to communicate to you, and all you need to do is you need to understand the ways of the Moxie indicator and what it's trying to say to you, and listen to it. It's kind of, maybe it's quiet sometimes, it doesn't actually speak, but it's trying to give you hand signals. The Moxie indicator is your friend, and it is honestly trying to warn you sometimes, whether it's to the upside or to the downside, but it's your friend and it's trying to help you. And if the other thing you can notice on the 15-minute time frame, price kept trying to move up. Notice that the Moxie indicator just went sideways like that. It's dead. It was just idling around zero. No strength, nothing like that. And then you could see right here, it got nice and tight and then started to get real red and roll over to the downside. And that was exactly as price started to break to the downside. And so we decided to take a short right there, and we're doing quite nicely with that thing. Let's see. So let's see how much percent right about here. 8%, 9%. Yeah, not too bad. So same thing as I've said with the rest of the market. There's probably going to be a little bit of a bounce here at the daily 21. And then we can either add to it or short again. But if we look here, you can see going back a little ways, it's exactly the same thing. Move down to the daily 50, a little bit of a bounce, and then it rolls over further. And I think that's what's going to be happening for HLF and numerous other stocks out there. Let's see, Apple. I kind of look at this, and Apple, if you look, had, obviously had a massive run, really had a massive run. But what did it do? Came up here, overshot its trend line just a little bit. But you know what? We could see that this was going to be a problem. At some point, price is going to come back down to the daily 50, if not further. And then you could also see that as price continued to move higher and higher and higher, it was just a matter of time until its reckoning came, because you could see that there was negative divergence the entire way. And then where it finally caught was right here when the Moxie indicator started to go red every single day. And you can see the same thing on the 15-minute time frame, and then super, very, very tight. That's why I have two Moxie indicators on the 15-minute time frames, because when they go from being spread to being extremely tight and looks like one line, that's when they start to agree with each other. That's when it means something. And you can see here they totally agree with each other, and so that direction was strong. The sentiment to that direction was very, very strong. The other thing I wanted to show, talk about the Moxie indicator, the Moxie price triggers. Here's your green, here's your red. Check out the move in between. I'd say that's pretty good. That is a really, really good move right there. If you just followed the Moxie indicators alone on that, or the Moxie price triggers, you would have caught 90% of that trade. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And then the other thing is the concept of the trampoline move. That is when price is below the 50, but the Moxie indicator is above 0. And what that means is the Moxie indicator is above 0. Momentum is up. It's positive. Energy wants to be up, and yet price is moving down. So it's the same thing I was saying about Herbalife and Amazon. Hey, when price is moving up, but the Moxie indicator keeps moving down, 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 it's trying to communicate to you. And so the Moxie indicator is trying to communicate to you here too. Hey, price is moving down, but the Moxie indicator is still holding up. It's still doing strong. So that must mean that the energy still wants to be up, momentum still wants to be up, all that kind of stuff. And so this is like trying to push a beach ball underneath water, or as I say, it's a trampoline move. You jump on the trampoline and then it shoots you up like that. And that's what happens here. So great stuff on that. Let's see, Apple. And then, let's see, just a couple things to show you that we're still pretty much in a bear market. I know that there's been some ideas, and even I've been looking at it, and we still have to be prepared. We have to be prepared that if this pullback on the SPY actually comes into strength, then we have to be able to kind of reverse our sentiment and be willing to go long. However, things are still getting destroyed out there. There's still a lot of damage. Here's ZM. We traded it for a little bit, made a few percent off of it. I was thinking that it was going to go a little bit further. I thought it would catch that part of that short squeeze that we ended up getting a little while ago. And part of the reason why I was looking at that is because I was seeing some setups. So you can see here that there's a leg, heel, arch of the foot, ball of the foot, and I was looking for an elf toe. I was really looking for price to come back up here to the daily 200 and the weekly 50, something like that. And then there was an elf shoe right there, and then there was divergence right there, and everything was looking good. Had a good move up like that. And then really the thing that shook me out of it, or at least told me I need to be careful about this thing, was this down day. There was a down day right there on bigger volume, and that told me like, this is going to be a problem. I don't think that this is going to do what I want it to do, because there's more volume on a down day selling than there is buying. And so the next pop, which I think was right around here, we decided to get out. I think we bought it something like right here. So we made a little bit, just a little bit of money right there. But glad I got out. I don't like to hang around for earnings. This is another reason. And just showing you that things are still pretty weak out there. And you can see that here with ZM, where earnings just got it. Same thing with SMRT. I don't expect this to be anything exceptional as far as to the upside, but I was seeing some of those patterns. You can see there was another elf shoe right in here, and then a bit of a trampoline move right there. And so there was a bit of a move, but again, that ran into resistance here, and then decided to roll over, and then earnings came out and boom, just down. So yeah, it's been a real tricky thing out there. We have been seeing some up moves, some short squeezes, but those short squeezes kind of been falling apart. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of us probably know about the Bed Bath & Beyond saga. We were definitely thinking that maybe the meme things were coming back, but it looks like the whole meme craze, at least this round, was basically junk off the bottom. So kind of the last hurrah for this round, and it was at the end of the move. We did see some things, even W had a bit of a short squeeze as part of that one. We were in this right here. I was thinking price was going to continue to ride the hourly 50. It looked like it was good for a while, part of that short squeeze for a bit, and then it just fell back over. So we got out for, I don't know, like 0.5% gain. Not much like that. And then Weber, this thing has 60% high short interest, so a bit of a move, but then back down. And at this point, it's kind of all over the place. It seems like it could be doing something, but it's well, if it does something, it would have to go with the market. So you can see that there was a bit of a move here initially off of the 15-minute 50, but maybe now there's going to be a move off of the hourly 50, which would also include the daily 50 and the daily 21. So it's definitely got a high short interest. It's up. It's got some volume coming into it. You know, it might be a little risky, so choose if you want to play it or not. And I think it's going to be, you know, I think things like this are probably could at least have some wind behind their backs if the market kind of comes up a little bit, like I said earlier in the session. So there's that. And then Lucid, wanted to kind of talk about this. Some names that are just still really not going anywhere. Very, very mixed and just untradeable, I think, unless you think that they are going to just continue to fail at some point like this and continue to fall, which seems not so unlikely. It seems like that's quite a possibility for it to do, but you're going to have it actually break this level in order to go down. So things can be a little bit tricky like that, but for the most part, just not playable. It's just literally going sideways. There's not much to do about a name like that. You just have to recognize to stay away from them. All right, then you get, let's see, SeaWorld. And I'm mentioning this because I think that there's actually going to be a short setup in here. Very, very similar to what I've said about the rest of the market. I think that a lot of these names, a lot of the names that caught the short squeeze in the bear market rally, I think a lot of them are going to head back to their daily 50s and maybe even further below. But you'll notice, what is it doing? Bouncing off the 21 EMA. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for in order to catch my next round of shorts is, you know, here's where they peaked out, they pulled back, they bounced, and then I'm going to do this, and I want to catch them right here at the top of this next bounce. So I am building a list right now of names that are basically moving up into resistance for the second time, and I want to be able to take them and trade them short because I can take them from here to probably here, and I think that that's at least a worthy cause to try and go after. So I see some of those, and let's see, BYND, Beyond Meat, basically same thing. Kind of showing you this, you can see that they try to have a little bit of a move like this, pull back, second move, and then roll over. Like, that's just, there you go. Now this one was a little bit bigger and kind of all over the place, and there was earnings involved, but it's the same concept. You know, here was that short squeeze that we saw on a lot of those stocks out there. Here's the pullback, there's the bounce, notice double top, and then boom, there's the move down. That's what I want to catch. I want to catch that second move down into and below the daily 50. So go look around for that. There's plenty of them. I think that's what's going to be happening. Let's take a look one more time at the SPY. And yeah, I think it looks to me like it's going to be holding. Should just be holding. We'll see if we can get a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a move up to the upside, and then get ready to short it. And I don't think I actually spoke about UVXY yet. So the UVXY is the leveraged ETF of the VIX, of volatility. And what I've been talking about for the last couple weeks is this big thing. Notice on the hourly chart, price has been going down, but notice how the Moxie indicator has essentially been going flat. That is a form of divergence. And in this case, it's a form of positive divergence, which, you know, great for the UVXY, not so great for the market. And what we can see right in this thing, that the Moxie indicator started going green, 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 green. It's the same. It's the same but opposite of what I showed you on HLF and Amazon. Okay, the Moxie indicator is your friend. It's trying to communicate to you and tell you these things. And so what we did is we actually took a trade from here to about here. It was about 16 to 18%, something like that. And then we get out because, as I said, I'm expecting a bounce in the market, which means I am expecting a move down, a little pullback on the UVXY as it sets up this base. I think it needs to hammer out a bottom in the typical Moxie fashion, trying to form a elf shoe on the daily chart and trying to do the first move, second move on the hourly chart. Heck, even at a 50-250 maneuver on the hourly chart. So we are out of this. We're going to let it kind of come back down, and I am looking to then pick up the UVXY or UVIX, something around here again, basically on a dip and a pullback. And I think that if that happens, I think that the next major move is going to be pretty big. It's probably going to take us to the daily 200, because you can see that when we do get nice big moves, they generally go to the 200. So I think that is reasonable through there. that should be something like a 50 to 70% move. That's gonna be nice. So, yeah, we're watching that one, and it should be coming home to Papa. So we'll see what we can do. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week. You guys have a great rest of the week, and oh yeah, don't forget Jackson Hole. Jerome Powell is going to be speaking. I think it's Friday. So Jackson Hole starts Thursday. He'll be speaking Friday, and we'll see what kind of shake and bake that gives the market. All right, guys.